Assalamualaikum and welcome to my sharing session on the art of visionary leadership. This is series 9 of 10 series in part 1 based on chapter 3 of my book, Mahathir, the Art of Political Leadership. In this series, I will be discussing the topic Mahathir's self-directed learning in leadership. Self-directed learning as an educational concept has been prevalent since the emergence of the andragogical movement in the early 70s. In Malaysia, this concept had already in place since the late 70s when Mahathir was the education minister. However, the idea is not properly developed. The students were not given adequate opportunity to learn by themselves. Instead, learning should always follow the teaching, and it was teachers directed. Fortunately, education in Malaysia is developing along with the technological advancement and modern perspective about learning. Since Mahathir taking over the premiership in early 1980s, Malaysian education is picking up very fast on technology as well as the modern Western concept of education. The concept of a self-directed learning becomes an essential concept of its own. For the start, teachers will have to reduce their teaching role and increase the students' learning role. This could be possible when teachers are focusing more on designing learning activities rather than delivering lectures in front of passive learners. Malcolm Nowell's 1970 defined self-directed learning as the process in which individuals take the initiative with or without the help of others in diagnosing their learning needs, formulating learning goals, identifying human and material resources for learning, choosing and implementing learning strategies, and evaluating learning outcomes. In the workplace learning, there is another approach of learning called independent self-directed learning. This approach is balanced between simple self-directed learning and advanced self-determined learning. Daniel R. Tobin explained the concept of independent self-directed learning in his book, All Learning is Self-Directed. According to Tobin, independent learning in the context of the workplace is learning that takes place apart from other people, apart from formal, organized training programs, no instructors, no classmates, no designated day and time to show up for training. It's just you and your learning materials. The only truly independent learning is that which comes from experimentation and discovery. Further, Tobin wrote, self-directed learning implies that you are deciding for yourself what you will learn and how you will learn it. You are directing your own learning activities. You are in charge. No one tells you what you must learn or decides which method is the best one for you to use. No one dictates when and where you must be in class. No one decides what is important for you to learn or what is not important. Mahathir is an independent self-directed learner. His medical degree and training helped him to get a place in the leadership circle. But to become a true leader, he had to embark on the learning journey using independent self-directed learning. It was through this approach he learned new leadership skills. For instance, he dared to be expelled from UMNO in 1969 purposely to learn something essential about leadership based on the May 13, 1969 racial riots. He knew that his defeat in the general election and this bloody event could teach him something about leadership. Therefore, he decided to learn independently. Nobody decides on his learning goals and direction. Nobody tells what and how to learn as well as why he needs to learn. This is what Dr. Tobin further elaborates. I believe that all learning is self-directed. No matter what is taught in a class, in classroom, no matter what the intention of a book's author, no matter how complete a computer-based training program may be. It is the individual learner who decides what is relevant to the job or the situation. What is important to him or her, therefore, what will be learned and retained. Mahathir did not care much what people say about him. For him, he is free to interpret the historic event of the May 13 riots. He dares to criticize Tunku Abdul Rahman, stood firm on his decision until he was expelled from UMNO. Mahathir, as we know, believes strongly that leadership is a learning process. As a leader, he develops a passion for lifelong learning. To quote Simon Sinek, Mahathir is the best leader who thinks of himself as a student, not a teacher. Simon Sinek said, leadership is an education, and the best leaders think of themselves as students, not the teachers. He is also a great leader who is never too proud to learn. As John Donohue, CEO of American conglomerate Nike, once said, great leaders are never too proud to learn. Professor Warren G. Bennis, founding chairman of the Leadership Institute, University of Southern California, wrote in his book on becoming a leader. Leaders learn by leading, and they learn best by leading in the face of obstacles. As weather shapes mountains, problems shape leaders. Bennis' statement addresses the two most crucial points. First, as leaders, we should learn actively and independently by doing, not by solely reading or listening to others passively. Reading is good, but it defeats the purpose if we could not apply the lessons we read. Listening is also good, but it will also defeat the purpose if we only listen to judge, not to learn. This first part of Professor Bennis' statement pointed towards the learning process and approach, the self-directed learning. Second, the best way to learn is to face problems. There is no specific syllabus or learning content for leaders to learn except facing the problems. Hence, problems are the syllabus and the content. Self-directed learning is crucial for entrepreneurs. They are a group of people who seek business opportunities based on their future goals, needs, and interests. Learning is out there in the field. Certificates and credentials are not helpful when facing with complex business problems and challenges. They will have to develop specific learning skills. Independent self-directed learning is the main approach they should be using. The same thing goes to leaders. They are a group of people who ventured into no man's land and learn through real-world experience. Previous learning and prior knowledge will never be sufficient for them to lead. Some even have to learn from scratch. Leading people means learning about the people, developing the strategies to get them into our leadership and to lead them towards the shared vision. It is as complex as the people themselves. More followers mean more complexities. Mahathir is an independent self-directed learner. His medical degree and training helped him to get the place in the leadership circle. But to become a true leader, he had to embark on the learning journey using independent self-directed learning. It was through this approach he learned new leadership skills. A good example of how Mahathir applied independent self-directed learning is during the 1997-1998 Asian currency crisis. The country's currency is about to crumble due to the financial crisis in other Asian countries. Mahathir did not simply follow the conventional approach to solving this problem. He began to diagnose the problem and understood its potential causes. After convincingly discovered the root of the cause, he decided to control and tight the Malaysian ringgit against the US dollar at 3 ringgit 80 cent for US dollar 1 US dollar. A critic among intellectuals criticized his decision. He describes the experience. One of the intellectuals actually gave 32 different reasons why I should not do what I proposed to do. But I argued my way with him and demolished his reasons one by one. And in the end, he did not have an answer. So I thought I must be right if I can demolish 32 different reasons. I was less afraid. In the end, one has to make a decision. Further, he said, we must be convinced that the decision must be good and you can defend it. The decision must be the result of examining all the advice you get, and that decision must be based on a lot of background things like knowledge, reading, acquiring as much information as possible, studying data. It was not an easy thing. You have to think to make an educated decision. There is an abundance of examples of how Mahathir highly values the self-directed learning process. They were all in the context of his problem-based leadership learning. In my book, Mahathir, The Art of a Political Leadership, you will find 7 of them. The learning simulation presented in chapter 4 to chapter 10 provided us with the result of Mahathir's self-directed learning. There are a lot of lessons we could learn from him. I will be sharing some of it in the upcoming videos. Till then, I would strongly recommend you get a copy of my book to learn more about his leadership self-directed learning. To get the copy of my book and further information on our leadership training program, please click the link in the description below. And to get the notification on my upcoming videos, please subscribe, like and share this channel. Thank you and have a great day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.